Alright, so I'm recording and we're going to learn how to create a cinematic using Unreal Engine 5. So, alright, the first thing is that we need to determine where we want to put our cameras when we start using them. And so I'm just for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to put cameras kind of in almost like random locations, but I'll just put them in locations. So for the demo, I'm going to set up 3 different cameras, and then we'll animate the cameras, and in between the cameras, we'll cut from one camera to the second to the third, and in between we'll put fades in there and learn how to do that. So, all right, I'm just going to, in order to add cameras, we're going to put them up here, quickly add to the project, and when you click up there, we're going to go into cinematic, and then we'll go into, you can see there's all these cinematic options here, and we are going to, the one we're going to use is this Cinecamera Actor, and so that's just an actual camera that we're going to put in the scene there. So I choose my camera, and then when my camera is selected, it opens up a screen here, and it shows what the camera is looking at. So if I don't like what the camera is looking at, then I can make changes to it. In fact, maybe I will bring it back a little bit and take a look at some of the stuff going on here. Maybe that's an awfully large thing. And then I'm going to rotate it just a little bit, maybe something like that. All right, and then once I rotate my camera, look what it does. So it rotated it, but now it's off center, just a little bit. And so, does anybody know, how do we get it? So it's kind of hard to see there. What if I did this? What if I turn it this way? Okay. Notice that now it's set like this. And when I go to rotate it, if I wanted to rotate it sideways on the z-axis here, I rotate it, and look what it did. It's now kind of like warped. It's not like rotating on one of the world axis planes here. So how would I fix that when I start rotating it? I'm gonna get it back to there and there. So it's now straight. Anybody know? What do I have to click to change the axis that it's rotating on? Anyone know?
The global local thing?
Yes, the global local axis. So in Unreal, right up here, you can see it's currently on the local axis. And that's why when I rotate it, the rotation gizmo, it rotates with the object. Well, I don't want it to do that because it's gonna, when I start rotating it like down or left and right, and then I go to rotate it on the z-axis, it's gonna get really weird. So before I start doing this, it's probably best to cycle this, click, and make it world coordinates, okay? So it's best to do world coordinates when you're animating. So set that first. That way, now when I go ahead and rotate it like this, that way, look, on my z-axis, I can still rotate it on the world axis there, and it doesn't give me the crazy tilted thing. So, all right, very good. So now I'll take it and I'm going to set it to where I want it, right there for my starting position. All right, I kind of like that. So just pick a spot, and notice that I didn't try to put anything at right in the dead center here. If I'm really gonna, maybe I should try and do that to it. The reason I did that is because you want to adhere to the rule of thirds. So if you go into just look at rule of thirds, and then look at images. First of all, you can go in the rule of thirds. If you just look at the Wikipedia for it, and it's got some examples in here. And what it is it's about composing your shots, your scene, so that nothing is really in the center of your view, but things are off into like the right third, the left third, the top third, or the bottom third, okay? And there's some examples of this. So for instance, and so rule of thirds means you want to divide your image up into like a tic-tac-toe grid, and then you want to avoid putting the object right in the center. You want to put it off to one of the thirds there. So now they've moved the object off kind of to the left third or on the line there, and even the horizon line has come down to the bottom third right there, as opposed to being in the center right there. Okay, so it's been cropped with the rule of thirds, and what it is it makes the scene, the image much more interesting. Okay, your eye now travels around the image as opposed to just everything focusing on the center there, and you don't really pay attention to what's out here. Well, you know, it's an entire image, and we want the viewer's eye to kind of move around the whole image and see everything in there. So there's other examples as well. And so what you can do is you can just go and type in rule of thirds again. And there's probably hundreds of images with those examples. And so here you can see all sorts of them, from scenery, you know, to here's a nice one, nicely composed image of, it almost looks like a lake with a tree right in the center of it there, which they've put off on the right, and then their horizon line is on the upper third. Down here, there's one where there's a child with a cape on off to the left side, and the horizon line is down in the bottom third. And so every one of these, you can see that they're trying to not put something in the center there. It's all off to the side or up or down. And so another thing here, which isn't quite as important to what we're doing with our cinematic, but one thing to recognize is that when you have a person in there, you always want to give the scene more space the direction the person is looking, okay? So, for instance, this person is standing here, they're facing to the left, so there should be more space here. It would feel really awkward, and it might even create tension in the scene if this person was over here on the left side and they were facing left. It doesn't put the viewer at ease. It creates a little bit more tension. And so here's another one where, again, the person is on the right, looking to the left, and the majority of the space is over here on the left. And so you'll find that with all of these, because they keep less tension. Like, here's one that's a little harder. It's almost a straight on, but because we can see this side of her face, there's more space over here. This one, she's looking to the left, so there's more space there to the left. And so anytime you see people in there, it's usually the direction they're looking. You give that area more space, okay? But anyway, tons of examples of the rule of thirds here. And if you ever need to refresh your mind of like, what is the rule of thirds, you can get really good at composing scenes simply by just browsing images that adhere to the rule of thirds, and then try to create your scenes this way as well. So even animals, look at that. Oh, wait a minute, here's one where the person is on the right, but they're looking to the right. But there's an exception here, because they've got this big long drapery behind them, and so that's an exception because of this other design element that's in the scene here. So there are exceptions to the rule, be aware of that, but for the most part, usually the person, you leave more space the direction the person is looking, or animal even. So just be aware of that. All right, so that's the rule of thirds, and so I've tried to adhere to that with my first initial pose of my camera, and getting the horizon line up here in the top third, and then my road. There's a line down here at the road in the bottom third, and then this big sphere is off to the left third, and all of that. So, and actually there is I don't know if I can find it. There still is probably. There is a set out where you can actually put you can actually put the rule of thirds in there, and I don't remember where it is, so we may not use it. Cinematic viewport. So anyway, we'll, I don't want to use that because I don't remember where it is. So anyway, all right. So that's the and so I've changed my I changed it from where I was looking. So don't want to do that. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to set up my camera, and where's my camera? There it is. So there's my camera, select it, there's my view, and we're good. So, but anyway, there is a place where you can set up the little tic-tac-toe rule of thirds screen right there, and I'll talk to you later about where that is once I find it. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started with our cinematic. And here's where my first camera shot is going to be, and I'm going to animate it. And then let's go ahead and create a second camera shot. All right, so. Maybe my second camera shot, I wanna go over these trees here and just show off my level, maybe up here. So now I'll create another one. So I'll go up to the Add button, Cinematic, Cinecamera Actor. So I've got another one, and it renamed it Cinecamera Actor 2. I'm not looking at anything except blue sky right now, so I'm gonna have to rotate that. So I'm gonna rotate it. Probably 90 degrees, and let's pull it over a little bit. Let's rotate it down. So I'm looking, here we go. And then I'll move it again. Maybe move it over to the left side right there, the clump of trees, and then I'll rotate around there. All right, that's my second camera. And then let's create one more camera. So we said we'd do 3. So I'm gonna just set one maybe right up here. And so I'm going to add Cinematic, Cinecamera Actor. There it is, Cinecamera Actor 3. And again, it's looking off the total opposite direction that I wanted. So let's rotate it 180 degrees. And let's see, maybe I'll just rotate it down a little bit. Oh, okay. And pull it over just a bit. All right, I kind of like that. So I've got my horizon line in the lower third. I've got this large object in the right third. There's nothing dead center. All right, I've got a really nice, nicely composed camera scene. So I've got 3 cameras. Now, if you have a long list of things and you're like, I gotta keep scrolling to get to my cameras, you could select all 3 of them and just click on the little folder button up there, creates a folder, and then it's going to add everything you have selected into that folder. And then I could rename the folder like my cinematic folder or whatever. And that way I can roll up everything else if I wanted to, like my lighting, I could roll that up. And I could put all these other things in there as well. So, all right, so anyway, so that's where that is. And I'm going to start with my Cinecamera Actor 1. I'm going to press F to focus on it so I can see it. And let's move forward from there. All right, so now I'd like to create a cinematic. Well, we do that up here. You see the little clapboard, and if you click on the clapboard, there's a couple options. Add level sequence or add level sequence with shots. We're going to start with just add level sequence. We'll add our own shots. So, and you can name it whatever you want, and I'll just call it, how about, I don't know, let's see, terrain cinematic. Because that's what it is. So it's my terrain cinematic. I'm just going to throw it in my content folder so it's right there and I know where it is and I can find it. So save it right there. And then it opens up our sequencer down here. And can't save. That's fine. I'm just going to close that, not worried about it. All right, so select your first camera. And in the sequencer, it's just an animation timeline basically right here, but I don't have any cameras inputted here on the left side yet. So in order to get a camera in there, there's 2 different ways to do it, maybe 3, but we'll stick with 2 easy ones. If I right click and then say add actor to sequencer, and because I have it selected in the level, it brings it right up here up top. So I can say, add the Cinecamera actor up here, and it adds it in. I'm gonna pull this up a little bit so y'all can see. And it gives me some options. Well, we're not gonna be messing with the components of the camera, so let's roll that up. But we are going to be messing with the transforms, the location, rotation, transform, not the scale, but location and rotation. And so I don't even know what you'd use for scaling a camera. It's available to you, but I don't know that it does anything, so. All right, and you can see it puts whatever the camera sees, it puts it up here in the camera cuts. I'm looking through the camera, and I know that because it's selected here and it's blue. And it says you can unlock the Cinecamera actor from the viewport just by clicking on this button. So if I clicked on the button, then I can back up and I'm now scrolling freely, and there's my camera. But if I want to get back looking through it, I just click it again. Boom, and now I'm looking through the camera again. All right, let's go ahead and start animating our camera. So I'm gonna set, we know from previously that I can set keys on individual axes by just clicking the little button here or pressing the enter key. It's probably best when you're animating a camera is just go ahead and actually do the full XYZ axis, location and rotation. I'm gonna allow that for this, for what we're doing here. It just seems to be easiest and it's the least confusing. So here's the rule for good animation. Always set a key at the beginning and at the end of animation, okay? So let's follow our rule and set a key at the beginning. So I've got location selected, and I can either click this button right here, boom, and it set a key, or I can press the enter key, which we'll get to in a moment. So how about over about 3 seconds, so we're animating at 30 frames per second, so 30 frames times 3 seconds is gonna be 90 frames. So let's go 90 frames, and then I'm going to move my camera forward. I can either get out of my camera or I can stay in it and just kind of move forward with my camera. So I went straight on by the boulder and I'm just gonna animate it right here. I'm not really looking to do art in cinematic art here, I'm just trying to teach you guys how to do a cinematic, so. All right, so I moved my camera, location is still selected. I can just press the enter key here, and it sets a key. And then I'm gonna scrub my slider to see how does the motion look that I just did. All right, it looks pretty good, except for some reason, I'm gonna move it over just a little bit right there. And I'm gonna reset that key by pressing enter. There we go. All right. So anyway, now I'll scrub my slider. There we go. And looks good. All right, so that's my first camera one animated. And then let's think in advance that I'm going to have a fade in between my cameras. So I'm gonna leave an entire second for fading out and fading in again. So that's 30 more frames. So I'll do the fades later, but let's go to the next. So I'm gonna fade out, fade back in. Let's go to frame 120 over here. And let's go ahead, I'm gonna close up Cinecamera Actor, and let's select our next camera. So I'm gonna select camera 2, and there it is. You can see a little bit better there. All right, so I've got camera 2 selected, and let's go ahead and add it to our sequencer. So again, I'm going to, instead of right-clicking, let's do it a different way. I've got the add button right up here. If I click the add button, again, because I have it selected, I can say add actor to sequencer, and it puts it right up top there for me to get it. Otherwise, I could go through here and I could select it by clicking right there. So anyway, I'm gonna add Cinecamera Actor 2. There it is. And the number one rule of good animation is set a key at the beginning of action. So this is the beginning of motion for this camera, so I'm going to press the enter key, and it should set a key, which it didn't. It's because I was on that, and I did not want to set a key for all of that, so let's undo. I meant to set a key for the transform, the location Actually, let's do the rotation this time. We did location last time, let's do rotation this time. So anyway, I'm gonna get it, I'll press the enter key, sets a key right there for it. Let's advance, let's do that again over, we can do 40, let's do 4 seconds this time. 4 seconds times 30 frames per second is 120 frames. 120 plus 120 is 240. But I don't have 240. What's going on? I need to extend my sequence. So just click here and type in, I don't know, I'll just go to like 600. And it gives me more frames to work with. And I'm also going to take this red line as the end of your sequence. And so for like looping purposes and all of that, and just for the sequence in general. So anyway, we said we'll start at 120. There it is. I'm gonna add 120 frames, which will put me at 240. Boom. And then let's rotate the camera. So I'm just gonna rotate it. So I'm going to let's see now. If I rotate it, I might accidentally move it. See, I'm rotating it, but I accidentally moved it. And I didn't set a key on location, I only set a key on rotation. So if I don't want to move it, it's probably best if I back out of it. So I'm going to unlock it, I'm going to back out, there it is, and I'm going to hit the rotate, and now I'm only going to rotate it. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to move it. There it is. And I'll look over there, and if I can't see what I'm doing, I can go back to looking through it again. And I'm just going to leave it there for demo purposes. I kind of like that. And I like it, so I'm going to set a key there. And then once again, I'm going to scrub my slider. Goes from there, rotating to there. Okay, I kind of like that. So that's good. One more, let's leave one more second. Again, for half a second, we'll fade out. Half a second, we'll fade in. Now, it's getting to the point where it's harder and harder for me to pinpoint exactly where it is because I have so many frames in my timeline. So shorten your little, shorten this thing. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, shorten it there. Grab the ends of it, shorten it there, and then I can move it. So if I keep this at about 100 frames, it makes it doable for me to see, things. I try to get it to where I can see like maybe 5 or 10. There's my 5 spot, my 10 spot, and 15. So about every 5 I can snap to if I wanted to. So, all right. So let's add another second in between. So 30 frames plus 240 is going to make 270. Boom, there it is, 270 frames. Now let's go to the final camera. So I'm going to roll up this camera, and let's select camera, Cinecamera Actor 3, and I want to look through it. And so there I am, I'm looking through it. That looks pretty cool. And this time, I don't know, I'm just going to back up. How about I'll back up? I'm gonna add it first here by adding Cinecamera Actor 3. I don't want the components. Yes, I want the transforms. This time I'm gonna hold Control to select location and then rotation. And let's set a key, frame 270. I'll set a key on both of these, so I'll just press enter. Sets the key, and then at this time I think I'm gonna back up and rotate it at the same time. So I backed up, I moved up, I'm gonna back up, just so I can kind of see everything. Oh, I forgot to do something. What did I forget? I forgot to move my timeline first. So now when I grab it, I didn't move my timeline, so now when I move my timeline, it just jumps back to where it's keyed right there. So let's see, I'm at 270, let's go 3 more seconds, so I add 90 frames, that'll put me at 360. So I'll come over, I gotta slide my little bar down there, all the way over to 360, and then I'll back out, zoom up, rotate down, get a nice well-composed scene there, nothing in the direct center, I've got stuff off on the thirds, lower third, upper third, right third, and I'll set a key here as well. So pressing enter, sets the key, And then I can scrub my slider to see how well I did. Oh, very nice. All right, it's kind of nice, and I like that. So I'll roll up number 3, and then let's scrub it out so I can see all of them. And oh, I need to grip my, pull that a little bit closer there. All right, very good. All right, now I need to get all 3 of these cameras, whatever they're seeing, I need to get them into my camera cuts. Well, the first one goes in there by default. I want the first camera, let's see, I want the first camera to go, I want it to be seen like halfway through the fade. So I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit so you all can see what's happening. All right, so from frame 90 I want half a second to fade out, so that's 15 frames, so we'll go to frame 105, and then at frame 120, it'll fade back in. So let's add a fade track here. Well, even before we do that, I guess we need to add each of our cameras, because right now, if I hit play, if I'm looking through my cameras, the camera cuts, and I click on that, and this is going to show everything that the camera cut sees, or the sequencer sees, will be played here. So I'm going to back it up, I'm going to hit play. There it is, we see the first camera, then the second camera plays. Hey, we don't see the second camera, but then we do see it, and then, so we've got a problem here, we've got a little issue here, so let's go ahead and fix that. The way we do this is we're going to determine when each one of these cameras are going to play. So I want this one, I want the Cinecamera Actor 2 to start playing 15 seconds, or 15 frames into this little fade right here. So I want to cut to Cinecamera Actor 2 right there, okay? I want to cut there. So you can see I've got my little plus sign right here. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to say right here at frame 105, I would like Cinecamera Actor 2 to begin playing. Click, and now it added Cinecamera Actor 2 in my camera cuts. It's kind of like the director's cut here. All right, that looks really good. And then when do I want Cinecamera Actor 3 to play? Let's see, well this one started at 240, so add 15 frames to that, it's going to be 255. And that's when I want Cinecamera Actor 3 to play, so I'll click on the plus sign again here up in my camera cuts, choose Cinecamera Actor 3, and now camera 3 plays. So if I come in here and hit play, looking through my camera cuts, then it switches over to the camera 2, and we see camera 2, and then it switches over to camera 3, and camera 3 plays. Everything's looking really good so far. I kind of like that. All right, so now let's add our fade track in here. I don't see a fade track in here. There's a couple ways that you can add them. So the first one, first of all, let's go in and let's get over there. But I'm going to right-click here in the blank space, and I'm just going to say fade track. Add a fade track. The other way you could do it is just come up here where it says add, and add a, where is it? Event track, fade track. Well, I already have it added, that's why it's grayed out. You only need one fade track, so anyway. All right, so fade. So fade goes from 0 to 1. 0 being 0%, 1 being 100%. So that's this number right here. So I'm currently 0% faded on there. All right, so I'm going to go over to frame 90. And the same applies, the same rule number 1 applies to fade tracks. So I'm going to set a key for the beginning of fading. So I'm going to set a key, 0, and there's the key. And then here's a trick of mine, or a tip, is that I'm just going to go straight to the end, or where I want the fade to end at frame 120. And while I've got it at 0, I'll just set another key there. But in between, at frame 105, I want it to be completely black. I want to fade out. So my fade should go to 1. 1 is 100%. Notice in the track it actually also blacks out, the closer it gets to that keyframe, it blacks it out there. So when I scrub my slider, you can see it grays it out or fades it out, goes black, and then fades it in. So instead of being a sharp transition, we get a little bit of a softer transition by fading out and fading in. All right, let's do that on this other fade as well. So I'll bring my slider over here to the beginning of the fade. So again, we're going to click, set a key. Let's go to the end of the fade while we've got it set to 0 and set another key. And then go to the center of it where I want to have it be 100% faded or the number 1. All right, very good. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I've got the end of my animation. I'll pull that over. Now let's do it again. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Let's hit play. I'm looking through my camera cuts here. I hit play. It plays the first camera. It stops. It fades out, fades in. It rotates. Gives me my nice composition. Fades out, fades in. Goes to third camera. And boom, we're done. Very nice. I like that. All right, so my sequence, so I also want to save my sequence, so make sure you hit the save button there, right there, saves the current sequence, boom, and don't worry about that. Oh, what's going on? Why did it not save it? Oh, there it is, now it saved it, okay. So anyway, it saved my sequence, we're good. I'm gonna pull this down just a little bit since we've seen everything. All right, so now what I'd really like to do is, first of all, I'm going to unhook myself from the camera. Boom. So I'm not really looking, I don't have any cameras, so if I back out, I'm not connected to a camera anymore, at least I shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm not selected to a camera. I'm still just looking through my viewport. All right, what I want to happen is when I click play, I want the cinematic to play first. I want the player to be able to see stuff. And then, at the end of the cinematic, I want it to auto-start. My cinematic should auto-start, but then when it's done, I want it to give control back to the player so the player can run around, okay? Here's where we do that. We've got to go find our sequencer icon here. So I can't find it. I'm looking around. It's a little clapboard. If you can't find it or you don't know where it is, then just come over here into your outliner and look for the thing that says sequencer. And so, not this thing, but we're looking for the, it's probably all the way down. There it is, terrain cinematic. And it should say, as I pull this out, I don't have enough room here. There we are. Level sequence actor right there. So, select that. Now, I'll take it, whoops. Select that, come on, there it is, pull that up. I can actually put that, I'm gonna put that into my folder as well. That way I can find it quick and easy. So my terrain, so I gotta start stuff in there. So I can do that, and then I'll pull that up. All right, let's take a look at our options here with the terrain. Oh, and see, there it is right there, that little clapboard icon. So if I focus on it, that's what it looks like. It doesn't really matter where that is in the level. And so it can just be anywhere, because I can select it here. All right, so we said we wanted to autoplay, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit. There's the autoplay. There's also a looping feature, but let's not loop it. I want to give control back to the player at some point. So we're going to autoplay, and then what we want to do at the end, and I only want to play it at normal speed, so we're going to play it at 1x. Let's see, I don't want to pause at the end, and when we're done, I just want to give control back to the player. So let's make sure that, I think it does it automatically. We just need to make sure that it auto starts. So auto starts right there, auto play. So now when I just hit play, watch what happens. I'll click it. It plays my cinematic. There's the first camera, there's the second camera. And then the third camera. Ooh, on my second camera I can see the character. And then it gives control back to me. And so now I can run around and do whatever. So, ooh, I think I just died. I killed myself. I set up a kills volume there. So anyway, So look for me, I'm gonna hit play again, and in the second camera, you should be able to see my character running around. Oh, I killed my character again. I gotta get rid of that kills box. So, and then it hands control back, except I killed my character, so. But anyway, all right, so that's how you do a cinematic. Any questions? All right, can we stop recording?